Before we get started too much in our new episode here, I want to just go through some of the stuff we've done. First thing I'm going to do is we have taken some time to collect some extra resources, which means we now have enough food that we can actually cook some items here in our cooking pot. So I got some cabbage and onions from our field. I made some dough from the wheat by grinding it down and combining it with water, and then getting our chicken from our chickens that we've been raising, and that's going to allow us to make some dumplings. And so each one of these recipes for dumplings provides us with more than one output. So each time we do it, we get two, and so we'll put a stack of each in. We'll get 2 stacks of dumplings out of here. With we need bowls for it, so I'm going to quick grab some of those because I don't have quite enough in there for our processing, and then we can just leave that go to make us some more food. So if we just craft some bowls out of wood here, we'll just make a whole stack, and then we can set them up in there. Ooh, I forgot that the bowls craft in multiple stacks, so that's okay. We're going to put these in here, and then outside here I have a chest that we're going to put extra bowls in. So we got that done, so we have some food, so that we have some proper food to eat instead of just eating the ingredients for our food. And that'll help us out a lot with keeping ourselves full. Our water situation is still pretty good. We're getting some nice fresh water here to drink. And our crops are looking great. They're full, and we can harvest them as we need to. I moved the blueberries patch a little bit so that it was out of the way. I'm starting to kind of bring everything together to decorate it. So I'm going to drop off some food in here. I've just been kind of organizing things out a little bit. We're going to put the dough up here, and then we'll put the flour or the wheat flour underneath it. I have some space for animal fat and some extra chicken, and then all of our ingredients all go down here. Another thing that we did while we were working on this in between episodes is that we finished out our path over here. It's not quite decorated how I want it yet, but we at least have a path that leads from our stairs over here all the way down to our new cabins. So you can come up the stairs from our starter place, and you come over here, and it leads over to the entrance to that cabin. I think I'm going to end up building something that kind of connects all this together so that there's a fence around it, and then the crops are all done in it. Still haven't quite figured out how I want to do that, but this will be like the entryway into the area. And then, of course, we have our bed in here and our little pond. We might need to make a pathway so we can get around. Today, what I want to work on is getting into our first create machine. So the goal of that is to automate some of these crops, automate production of some other things, and get us into the point where we can actually do some ocean exploration. To do that, we're going to need to make a ship. I think I discussed this briefly in the last episode. And the ships are, actually, the mod is small ships. If we want to make our first oak cog, we need to get ropes, and we need to get these haul pieces. So we need to get more andesite and iron so that we can make these. And then to make the ropes, we actually need to get into straw, which requires us to get into a rolling machine and a few other things for us to craft all that up. So in order to do that, what we need is a little bit more of a powerhouse so that we can have some create machine. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to clear out a section down here in the lower part of our mountaintop here and set up a place where we're going to build our first factory. And I'm going to redirect some water from up here down to where I'm going to put down some water wheels. Now, we don't need to have water flowing in order for this to work, but aesthetically, I think it looks better. And so I'm going to redirect some water. We're going to lead it over here to have it go into a pump house that is powering a little powerhouse that will power our new building. And we'll get all of that built up together. And then we'll start working on designing our first machines for this playthrough. Finished doing some more construction here. The pond here, the holding pond that we had, I changed it up just a little bit so that it goes a little differently. And now it has a spillway over here that goes into this section, which is going to be our water wheel section for our powerhouse. So basically the water is going to flow through here. It's going to actually, I'm actually going to be placing water sources, but I want it to look like water is flowing through here. And then it gets down to this spillway, which goes down and it flows all the way to the edge of the cliff. And it goes down into this canyon area where it can spill down there. So I'm going to do some more work down there to make it look a little better too at some point. But for now, we have a nice flow of water. So it aesthetically, it looks like it makes sense. So inside here, we have our water wheels. The water wheels are going to be lined up on either side of this section here. And I have the water set up in just the right way to make it so that this will maximize the amount of speed we get on our water wheels. So water wheels are based on how many blocks of flowing water are touching the sides of the water wheels. So when I have water here and it flows down this way and then it can flow underneath, that means that we have this one, and this one. Says 3, and then 4, 5, and 6 blocks around this that are flowing water in the correct direction and none that are in the wrong direction. So that means we should get maximum rotation out of the water wheels. We can, if we want to do it just a little better later on when we get it, if we replace this bottom block with soul sand and put water in there so the water is actually coming up and then going down around, we could actually get one more out of it. I don't think it's going to be necessary. In order to continue with this, I need to make more water wheels. The water wheels require us to have shafts and wood. I have some. I'm going to make some real quick, but I think I'm going to need to get more before we can finish it, which is fine. The issue is that we need to get some more iron and some more andesite in order to do that. So we need to spend a little bit of time going around and doing some mining. So let me get some wood here. To put these in so that we can get a maximum amount of shafts or a maximum amount of water wheels out of it. Put a couple things away. And so that gives us 5 more. In total, this space holds 20 water wheels. And we're also going to have to work out inside here, underneath this spillway part, we're going to have to put in a chain to connect them all so that we can have one rotational force out of the whole thing once we're done. So let's do it like that. Let's actually break this one. That was a weird lighting glitch. Put it like this. And temporarily, I'm just going to block the water here. And then what we need to do is come up here and we need to put a water source on each of these water wheels, because even though it's we want it to look like water is going to flow down here, it's not. We want to have water sources here in the middle. The water will flow down, and underneath these water wheels you can see that they are moving. Down here we're going to have to set up, put a block down so I can get out. Once they're done, they'll go the whole way through and they'll go to here. We'll have to put in a gearbox and then a chain assembly to make it so that we can connect the two of them together into one rotational force coming out the side here. And then this area over here is where we're going to be building our first little factory. So this is going to be a small thing, but it's going to be the start of the industry on our island. Eventually we will have much more advanced buildings that use lots more rotational force run by steam power and things like that. But this is our very first setup. This will be able to run things like the presses that we need to make iron plates and all these other machines that we're going to have, as well as some of our farming machines up here. So the idea, hopefully, is that this will all connect up and we'll have enough rotational force to run everything we need to get our little farm set up, as well as a building in here to do processing. So we want to be able to do things like making plates. We want to be able to do things like mixing alloys to make brass and things like that. So we're just going to set up a building that has a lot of rotational force in it, and then we will add machines to it as we go along. I just finished another peaceful day here working on the farm, and I thought I would show you what we've been working on to get things done here. we need to get some more resources to finish our create setup. But to do that, we need to be able to go do some mining and caving. And we don't have a renewable form of torches. Um, so what I want to do is use these lanterns. So I've gotten lanterns. You fill them up with oil, and then you light them, and they last for a much longer time than the torches do. So I have a few of them I've placed around. In order to place them, you just grab. Let's see if I have. I have one here, and then I'll grab the lantern to show you how that works. So you basically take a lantern and you put animal fat in, and it gives it a little bit more oil. And then when you put the lantern in place, this one's actually already lit. So I was working with this one. I want to put a spot right there, and we'll put this lantern hang here. And then you use the lantern oil can on the lantern, and then you use a flint and steel to light it. Obviously, that lit that because it's already. But the other thing we did is expanded out this storage a little bit more. It was just getting to the point where it's a little claustrophobic. So now I have some drawers here that hold a bit more. The things like the carrots, where it was over the spot where you could fit them into one of these little slots, I'm putting them in there so we can store a whole bunch of them. These you can also upgrade at some point, but like this one, for example, we have 700 blueberries in it. So we're getting a good, decent amount of food. The seeds that I've gotten here, I've been using to feed our chicken. So our chickens are pretty crazy at the moment. I come over and I feed them all the seeds I can. And in the process, I pick up a whole bunch of eggs that they have dropped. And then I can use the eggs to make more chickens, or I can just store them for use for some recipes where I need the eggs. So I'm just going to grab all these eggs and we're going to put them in the storage room for now. Then we're going to go sleep. It's nighttime now. And let's see here. So yeah, we got 235 eggs just from running through there in one day. Let's go take a quick nap. The idea is we're going to soon do a harvest on those chickens, and we'll get a lot of chicken. We'll get a lot of animal fat, so we'll have some food to supply our mining. We'll have some animal fat so we can do some torches. To make the lanterns, if I want to do lanterns, I just need to use the iron nuggets, and they work the same as the normal lanterns, where let's see, you use a torch, and then you surround it with nuggets, but you get an unlit lantern when you do it, and then you can place it down, you put fuel in it, and you light it, and it becomes a lit lantern. And I'm not sure exactly how long they last, but I lit these on the third day of summer, and they're still going, so it's at least a few days if they're full. Not enough fuel to ignite. So we have to get more fuel and get that set up. According to the thing, you should be able to use coal to fill up the oil, but it seems like you can't. So I think that was disabled in this pack. So that's why we need the animal fat. And that's fine, because like I said, we have a ton of chickens over here. We're going to go in and take some of them out. Also, when we do it, we get these trading cards, which are for the easy mob farm, which we're going to get to at some point. So I just did a couple swipes. My tools are already broken. Let me grab these eggs and we'll store them, and then I'll show you the trading cards and how those work. Store some eggs. The eggs we can use with our blueberries and some sugar to make blueberry pies, but we do not have the sugar yet. I can get a little bit from honey that is natural around the place, but one of the things we want to get on our list once we get able to explore more is finding the sugar cane. I think we have all of our eggs now, or a decent amount of them. They're laying eggs constantly because of how many chickens are in there. But now that we have the animal fat, we can do a couple more here, and we can use this. I'll demonstrate over here. That one lantern I didn't get lit in the area So like I said, they stay lit for a good while, and then if I going into a cave, I can just refill the lanterns and relight them and get the area lit again. Where I think I want to start caving is that when I was digging um, this path right underneath here, and you may even be able to hear them. There's definitely mobs underneath because there's a cave right underneath here. So I'd like to get some lanterns made up, and I'd like to get down in there to get that lit up so I can clear that area out. Maybe even fill it in, because I don't want to have a space underneath this where we're going to have mobs spawning like that. Now, as far as the trading cards, like I said, I have a ton of them that I've collected so far. These are used with the Easy Mob Farm. And so in order to make those, I'm not sure how this works, but I think if you make the mob farm template and then you craft this, you somehow feed the trading cards into these and you get mob drops out. I'm not positive, but I think that's how it works. The issue is I need white tulips for that to work, which is not something I can get on this island. I think I may have to do some exploration to either find an island where they have those or find one of the trading towns and trade for it. But that is something a little more down the road. We're going to take some time. We're going to get down in here to this cave. There's also a few more entries on top of the island, plus there is one off the side of our cliffside that we saw when we were coming up. And I'm just going to get in and get some space established so I can get in and get some more iron and andesite so that I can increase our create setup so we can build our first create machine. I would show you just a little bit of the chaos involved in what I'm doing here. This cave is not ideal layout for me to explore in because there's just so many mobs in here because we're on a survival island. There's not really anywhere else for them to spawn. So I've kind of been like working my way through, but if I get down to the wrong spot, I can have skeletons shooting at me and things like that. So I'm just slowly working on kind of tunneling my way into a safe spot where I can be and have mobs at the right angle so I can hit them, take them out. I have gotten several resources from it. I got a couple of these capture cards. I got a bunch of mob drops. So it's working, but it's slow and it is painful. And there's another cave over this way that I'm not even close to being ready to explore yet. So it's an interesting process here, to say the least. So now that I can get there, I can get out here just a little bit. Let me see if I can get here. I just want to get a block up above that. Like I said, the problem is if I get at the wrong angle, the skeletons can then hit me, and it's a process. Oh, and that just opened the whole thing up. It's gonna set me back quite a bit. So this is the process that I've been dealing with. I just wanted you to see a little bit of it. I'm just trying to get into this cave so I can do a little caving. I think that'll close it back up. But it's slow and it's tedious process. It has definitely made me realize that what I need to do for sure is work in getting some renewable iron going. So what I'm going to look at is, really quickly, we looked at this a little bit before, but we can get iron nuggets from washing gravel. To make the fan, we just need 4 iron plates and an andesite alloy. To make the iron plates, we just need a press with some iron, and the press is going to require us to get a block of iron. So in order to get this all set up, just to do the basics, just to get us started, I need 9 iron for this. I need each plate is 1 iron ingot, so that's another 4, so that's 13, plus a little bit to make the casings and things that make the machine. So I think I need about a quarter of a stack of iron in order to find it. And this cave doesn't really have too much. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do a little bit of just digging out in this area, kind of like branch mining, because I cannot deal with those mobs the way they are until I can get to the point where I have some extra iron. I can get iron tools, I can get iron armor, and then we can use that iron to increase our presence with create. So that's the plan now. I'm changing it a little bit, so I wanted you to see. I'm gonna do a little bit of digging here and hopefully find an iron patch somewhere that's a little safer than trying to deal with those mobs. I am not gonna lie, these mobs are harder than I expected. There's quite a few of them underground because of the fact that we're on this mountaintop and there's nowhere else for them to spawn except for the few caves underground. And I'm not able to put in any permanent light sources yet. So what I did is I came over here behind our farm, and right between these two buildings in the back here, I made a ladder down. So we can go all the way down to level 0 without having any kind of thin air problem. If we go below level 0, we have problems with thin air. So what I'm doing here is this area has some of these torches are burning out, which means I need to make sure that there's no spaces here. There's spawning, because then mobs will spawn in above me. When I was originally doing it, I was doing like a stairwell down, and then I realized that then I'm just going to create a new space that has a lot of spawning area. So instead, I dug out a little cave underneath here. I slabbed the floor so nothing can spawn in here. So even when these torches burn out, this area won't be able to be spawned. And then what I'm going to do here next is I'm making chests for each of the different stone types that I have here that I'm digging up, and I'm just going to start collecting them. So if I do that, you know, I have weathered limestone, I have granite, I have calcite, I have ancient sandstone, and then these are empty. Over here I have cobblestone. This is just a miscellaneous chest for different items. And then this one is the big one. We got andesite in it. On top of that, I've also already gotten 19 raw iron, which is enough to get started with what we wanted. But I'm going to keep digging down here for a while to dig out this andesite patch, because I need a lot of andesite to get started with create. And so I'm just going to keep digging this, and then I'll keep the floor slab so that I don't have to worry about the light, and then I can just stay down here, eat my food. I brought down a water source over here, so when I need more water, I can just click in there, and that gives me more water. And I can just grab as much resources as I can down here. I'm probably going to make an iron pick so I can get out this redstone and some other things that I find, because we're going to need that as well. And then we can just collect a lot of resources and get started with create with a nice start. And the first thing we're going to build is, once we finish that powerhouse, we're going to set up an automated system for producing iron on the surface, because we need a ton of iron in order to continue with create, because everything takes iron. The andesite alloy does. So to make andesite casings, we need iron for that. We need iron for all the different machine types. They all require iron for the blades and things like that. So basically, we're going to take the little bit of iron we get from down here, and we're going to convert it into a farm that's going to produce iron for us for the future. So I'm just going to keep mining here, and then when we come back, we'll be up at the surface, and we'll finish out our powerhouse, and we'll get started on building our first create factory for the entire island. Done quite a bit of mining and collecting and building, get things done. Kind of extended this path out to make it look a little nicer too, but if we follow the path down, we'll see down here, I'm experimenting with these path blocks too. I don't know if I like them or not, but I made this pad over here. So this is just weathered limestone bricks. It's nothing fancy as of yet, but over here we still have our millstone that's going. We have finished our, let's see if I can get up there pretty easy. We have finished our water wheels in here, and they're all connected. And then inside here, they are connected. There's a shaft that runs between with gearboxes that make it so that they all go out to this gearbox, and they feed out through here. So this gearbox is running with the rotational force of all of those water wheels. And at the moment, it's just connected to here, and it's powering this one millstone. The idea is I want to build this up into being our first little factory here. But for now, I just wanted to have a place where I could put it and I could get some stuff going. So I've made some more create stuff. I'm going to bring a shaft over here, and the shaft is rotating. And we have a couple of machines that we need to get set up. So for now, let's do a gearbox that's on here. And then we're going to put in a mechanical press. So now the mechanical press is going to rotate. Next thing I want to make for that is a depot. Depots are made using andesite alloy and andesite casing. So andesite casing, andesite alloy, make a depot. We'll put that right underneath the press. And what we want to do there is we're going to put in these 2 iron plates. And you can see it's pretty slow because the rotational force hasn't been sped up at all. I could change that if I want to use some gear ratios to make it go faster. But for now, I just want to have the ability to do it. So as long as there is iron ingots there to be pressed, it will keep pressing, and it will make these iron sheets for us. What we want the iron sheets for, I'm actually going to go back over here to the crafting table. We want to get a rolling machine going. Rolling machine requires andesite alloy, shafts, casings, and iron sheets. So now the rolling machine, if we put it down, just put it down over here. It is powered through rotational force as well. I believe we connect it. Let me look at this a little bit. Let's put it on. Put a block down. I just want to look around at this machine because I'm not sure how this one is connected to rotational force at all. So let's just take it so we can look at it the whole thing. Okay, so I think we have rotational force on this side, and that's how it's going to work. But let's take a look at it. You can hold W to ponder it. So yeah, okay. So there's two shafts in the middle there, and basically we roll things through it, and that makes sense. I think we can hook this up just manually without doing anything too fancy. So let's put this way. And then we're going to bring down, we'll do a vertical gearbox, which will connect like this, which means we can put a shaft on top of it. Then we'll do another vertical gearbox, and we'll put that up on top of here. And then we'll connect, we want that facing the other direction. And then we can put a shaft between them. And now you can see our rolling machine is rolling. Specifically what we want the rolling machine for, let me go grab some things to do it, is so that we can turn hay into straw. So let's just grab some right here. We'll just get a couple pieces of it just to demonstrate. So I believe we can just feed this in manually. Eventually we'll want to set up a machine that will do this for us. But for now, I just want to be able to get it working. Let's see, can we just feed it in this way? Wheat's in there, straw is coming out. Oh, we fed the straw back in. Not what we wanted, but there we go. And now we have straw. So the straw we're going to use to craft rope. So if we take 2 pieces of straw, we can craft 4 pieces of rope. The reason we want rope, there's lots of reasons we want rope, but the main reason we want rope is we're going to go into this mod and we're going to start making ships. So this can use either types of rope here, the ones from supplementary or this one. They're both ID'd to be the same. And so now if we can make a sail and hulls, we can make this. So the hulls are easy to make. We have casings and we have ingots. And the sails, we need to make windmill sails, logs, and rope. So we need more rope. The sails are made with wool, sticks, and andesite alloy. So we have a good system now for processing all of this into make that. We have string back down at the main area. So we can use that to make wool. We need to go bring some of that back up here. But basically what we want to do is use these machines to make our very first ship. And the reason we want to do that is we want to be able to go down here, kind of repair our ship here so we can head out and explore around, because we want to see what else is here. Are there other islands? Are there inhabitants that used to live in these cabins that went out and set out into the ocean? We just need to find more resources because our food supplies are limited. We have plenty of food now, but our choices are not very varied, and we want to be able to bring things back. This pack also is very centered around trading, so I know based on that there's going to be villagers out there that we need to interact with so that we can unlock some of the things that we're not able to get on this little island here for us. So in the next episode, we're going to step away from the create stuff a little bit. We're not going to add more to this, but we are going to use the machines we have here to get our ship up and going. We might play around with a couple of different types of ships. There's 4 different kinds, and we'll see what they look like and what they feel like, and maybe we'll decide which one we want to use. And then we're going to do some exploration and head out into the ocean and have some fun. But for now, we're going to leave this here. We have our food is in a really good place. We have lots of options, or lots of supplies, not a lot of options, but we have enough food to survive for a while. We made it so that we can actually make some more permanent light sources. I also did figure out that the unlit torches, if you place them down and then you use a flint and steel on them, you can light them and they'll burn for a while and then they'll turn into burnt torches. So we can use that while we're going exploring, but we can't use it for the long term. The lanterns last a lot longer than we do with the animal fat. And then soon we want to travel to the Nether, where we can get some resources to get some more permanent torches, or we can work on doing that through create. So what we need is glowstone dust. And glowstone dust can be made if we take raw tin and we wash it. We get tin ingots, and we get a chance to get glowstone dust, which means we could set up some kind of system for producing glowstone without going to the Nether, which might be our best option. If we use the glowstone dust, when we make torches, they're everlasting torches. So this is the recipe to make the normal torches, and those are used to make jack-o'-lanterns and other permanent light sources, which will allow us to be off of having to change our torches every time we go mining, and it'll allow us to expand out just a little bit farther than we have so far. So I've droned on a little longer than I should have. This episode's going to be just a little over the 30-minute mark, which is okay. But like I said, in the next one, we're going to use our create basics that we've gotten set up. We're going to get a ship, and we're going to go do some exploration. I hope to see you then. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.